zombie. Zombie.
All right, what's up, Turtle Riders? How we all doing out there tonight? I'm going to go ahead and switch my audio here to the microphone. And yeah, that should be a little bit better. Okie dokie. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Turtle Boy. All right, can you guys hear me now? This is not working. Let me take that out then. Okie doke. Can you guys hear me now? We good? All right. So welcome to the live show, guys. This episode is brought to you by our good friends over at TurtleBoy Sports. As you guys know, we're constantly under attack. Our advertisers are getting boycotted, so we kind of don't have them anymore. So if you guys want to keep the show funded, it works out well this way. Turtle Riders give what they can give. It's a free product. It always will be. But if you'd like to see the show continue, consider it like a tip jar. All right. So there's a link for that. If you donate during the show, I'll refresh it. I will read your name off. Whatever message you want to put with the donation, I'll read it off too, no matter how inappropriate it is, unless a court order has prevented me from reading it off. With that said, so big news here. I just found out in like the last hour or so, Monica Cannon Grant, who we peacefully protested on Monday because we wanted to take a stand for Black Lives Matter and against systemic racism that puts a bigot like that in a position of power. We decided that we were going to show up and let her know that her sort of racism is not acceptable anymore. Not acceptable. We won't stand for it in a civilized society. Being an internet activist, like being, she can block you on Twitter. She can block you on Facebook. She can ignore you on the internet. You're just another person yelling into the wind. It means nothing to her. When people actually show up and protest in person, they can't ignore you. And shit gets real then. And it's like, oh man, these people, they're actual real people. They're no longer just, on a computer screen, afraid to show their faces. That means a lot. You saw them have to run inside. So that meant a lot. We're going to do shit like that more often. So she has gone and filed a police report against me, which I'm going to share with you all now. Give me one moment. I'll pull it up here. Okay. Let's see. Can we see that? Okay. All right. So there is the police report right there. Let's read it together, shall we? So it says 1:45 on Tuesday, September. So this is the day after the Mark. It's Am I still there? Can you guys still see? Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I don't know what's up with the FUPA Wi-Fi, but so Mark Coleman with the C took a harassment order over the phone from Monica Cannon Grant. Monica stated that she is an act. Now, first of all, let's stop right there. Over the phone. I've talked to some Boston police officers about this, and this is a big no. They don't do orders over the phone like this. Like, this is a serious thing. You have to go into the station. So the mere fact that it's being allowed over the phone with her, my sources in the Boston police tell me this represents favoritism, corruption, that she, that there's some members of the Boston police who don't like the police, basically. And I think Mark Coleman is one of those guys. So he says, Monica Cannon Grant stated she is an activist and organizer and also a racist, but they didn't put that in there, for social change. Wrong. That's us. We are the activists and the organizers who fight racism. Cannon Grant stated she has become a target and has received over 250 death threats on various social media outlets, along with racially motivated attacks. So first of all, no, you haven't. That's a complete lie. These people always say they get death threats. They don't. You want death threats? Come read my inbox. I get actual death threats, and I don't whine about it. I make freaking parody songs about it because who cares? Be a grown-up. It's the internet. People write mean shit to you. Okay? Especially when you put yourself out there as a controversial public figure. So she goes on to say, Cannon Grant stated the quote-unquote Turtle Boys, a white supremacy media outlet. So notice the officer does not put, like, she claims it's a white supremacy media outlet. She just goes, a white supremacy media outlet. And a cop writes this down. And this is official now. Okay? This is what they try to do. This is like Bristol Blarney 101 all over again. They know what they need to do to get a harassment order against me. They need 3 instances of documented harassment. All they're doing right now, all she's doing right this is just documenting it. Then the next time I protest her, she'll do another one. And the third time she'll get, she knows how to play the system. And then they'll try to violate me on the order, just like Bristol Blarney did. I've been down this road before. I know how it works. I know this game. I know how these people abuse the courts. So she says a white supremacy outlet run by Aidan Kearney has been the source of numerous threats aimed at her and her children. No, it hasn't. What do you like? Okay, go on. Cannon Grant stated one such threat aimed at her daughter said, quote, I hope your daughter gets raped and killed. Notice nowhere in here does the officer say, like, I saw this threat, because it was over the phone. He just took her word for it. I didn't send her that threat. So even if somebody did send that threat, file a report against them. Not me. I didn't send you any threats. All we're doing is peacefully protesting against systemic racism and, speaking for Black lives. That's all we did. So it goes on to say, Cannon Grant also stated on the social media with the caption, where do you live? A picture of her child or 1-year-old child with a caption that says, where do you live? Okay, I definitely didn't do that. Cannon Grant stated she's been dealing with the onslaught of death threats on social media for approximately 3 years. This is what she always does. She's such a martyr, guys. She's such a civil rights leader that she's getting death threats all the time. Meanwhile, let's not forget, she literally threatened to blow Rayla Campbell and her supporters' heads off for riding white penis. That was their crime, right? The crime of riding white penis. She threatened to blow their heads off. So she goes on to say, Cannon Grant stated she was forced to move because of the threats. And no, she wasn't. She didn't move. She still lives in the same Section 8 dump in Warren Gardens in the heart of Roxbury. Remember, she raised $10,000 to move because she was being threatened, and she's very important, guys. She's very important. People were coming for her. So she raised $10,000 to move, never moved. It was just a big scam. The cop, who is a disgrace to law enforcement, is officially taking this report. She went to the Hyde Park police first. I have it from, they're not happy about this, the police, in case you can't tell. She went to the Hyde Park police first. because that is where this crime. I mean, Hyde Park's pretty much a different country from the rest of Boston. It's nowhere near Boston, and she went down, but that's where her whatever is, her stupid building is. So she goes to the Hyde Park station down there. They refuse to do it. So she goes to her local one in Roxbury, B2 instead, right around the block in Dudley Square. So she says, Cannon Grant stated on 9/7/20, she opened the Violence Prevention Office at 96 Business Street, Hyde Park. Cannon Grant stated during the opening, Aidan Kearney was in the parking lot of the opening with the bullhorn shouting racial slurs at her. First of all, it's just a lie. It's all on tape. It's all on tape. The only racial slurs that were shouted were from Monica because we were broadcasting her racially motivated hate speech directly at her so that her supporters could know exactly what it was that they were supporting. So this is just made up. It's just a made up lie. I should file. She should be charged with filing a false police report because these are just blatantly made up lies. First of all, Rayla's the one with the bullhorn. She doesn't give a shit. And no, we were yelling signs of peace. And I'll play the whole goddamn tape again. I don't care. Kearney was accompanied by Rayla Campbell, congressional candidate, and 8 others. Now, it was just the Turtleboy 6, okay? There was just 6 of us. So one of those people is a woman named Peggy, who I met the other day. She's a turtle rider, and she was the one. I'll show you the video real quick before. I'm going to bring her on in a moment. But she was the one during this incident. Let me pull this up. Pull it up. Chrome tab. Okay. So let's watch again. I'll show you the part where she comes in here. She was the one who was around, let's see, right around this part. Let's watch what happens.
Who understands what it is to be in a position of power as a black person and have a white man undermine you and have a white man talk to you like you know.
This is the guy from before, isn't it? Oh, maybe. Nice to meet you. Oh, how are you? Nice to meet you. This is the guy from before, isn't it?
Because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to organize against both of these crazy motherfuckers, and I'm going to mobilize. Because what you're not going to do is be disrespectful.
So here comes Chris Lewis, the guy we identified yesterday, Monica's cousin, who already threatened us once. He gets in Rayla's face. Then Tony Fed is standing there. He gets up in his face. Tony Fed just stands his ground, even leans back a little bit. Just tapes him. The guy's up in his face. Now here comes Peggy. Okay, so Peggy is standing there, and he throws the sign right at her. Okay? Did nothing. All she did was stand there with a sign, peacefully protesting, and did nothing wrong whatsoever. So I'm going to bring her on now. Let me pull this up. Peggy, how you doing?
Good, thanks. How are you doing?
You there? Can you hear me? I'm good, thank you. So, obviously, what happened there? Take us through what happened from your perspective.
So, from my perspective, the environment was very hostile. That was not the first person that approached us with hostility. That was the second. The first one was up in everybody's faces within an inch, nose to nose. Yelling
Ernst. Yeah, we had him on the show the other night. Ernst.
So now we have this man who, when he first arrived on scene, he was in his BMW. He pulled into the parking lot, burning rubber, screeched the brakes on, jumped out of his car with the door wide open, ran over to come at us. And there were big burly men there that were grabbing him by the waist, holding him back. He had to have more than one person holding him back. Because he was trying to attack us, to come at us. So now they get him away. They try to talk him down, and a little while goes on. And for some way, somehow, they must have lost sight of him because he came around the block or the building, and that's when he kind of come up behind Rayla, and that's when we noticed him, and he was up in Tony's head. And the thing is, Tony was on a cane. So I was a little bit in fear for Tony because he has like a disc issue.
Yep.
And I couldn't let somebody push him down, a man with a cane. To me, that's like, the old adage, don't hit a guy with glasses on. So I stood there just to make sure that this guy, just didn't put his hands on Tony. And he came over to me and he said, "Bitch, get out my fucking face." And he pushed the sign and pushed me to the side. And I just kind of stood there like, okay, anti-violence, not at all.
And all you did, I mean, we've seen the tape. You just stood between them. You did not hit him. You didn't touch him. Your sign was, close to him, but that's not against any laws or rules.
As much as they were up in our face, my sign was way less close than they were in our faces.
Yeah, and he hit
I
you.
tried to,
And
get a little distance between him and Tony because he was ready to push or hit Tony. He had the aggressive stance.
Oh, he was definitely. I mean,
his
Tony
fists
was
were ready.
leaning back.
He had the saliva at the edges of his mouth. He had the aggressive stance. His neck was bulging out. His shoulders were all prone out. He was ready to go.
Yeah. I mean, he was there to fight. He was not.
Absolutely.
There's a reason he snuck up behind us like that. Like he was there to enact violence against us.
Absolutely.
He was, he wanted, you could tell, obviously Rayla's not going to hit him and he's not going to, he might have Rayla. I don't know, but I think he was less inclined. I think he knew that hitting a woman would be a bad look. So he was going after Tony. And then you kind of stepped in and he used your sign as an excuse to just hit you, and then he had to be held back from you, right? We saw him getting dragged, like he gets dragged out of it.
Yet again, he was dragged back. Yes.
Yeah. And it's like, this is who's supporting this. He works there, Do you know he works there?
Oh, that's nice.
He's got an office in there. He showed off on Facebook. He's Monica's cousin, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Yes, he's Monica's cousin. Did a blog on him yesterday. And I identified the other guy remember the guy who flashed us?
Oh yeah, with the trying to pull like he had the gun.
Yeah, he doesn't like Jews or Asians, as it turns out. We found his Facebook page today. He doesn't like Jews or Asians, and he's a youth worker for the city of Boston. So he makes $52,000 a year to mold the minds of young Bostonian youth to hate police, to disrespect, I assume, Jews and Asians particularly. He really hates them. He don't like white people very much. He's made that pretty obvious in some of the things that he said. I mean, it's just amazing. And I'll tell you one thing. For all the talk of privilege and, police brutality, how come these guys, this happened in front of cops. Why weren't they arrested?
Well, I don't know what ended up coming. They did ask me if I wanted to make a report, but I said the true victim here is Tony, because they were threatening him specifically to shoot him. And well, that guy right there specifically threatened to shoot him. But then he said, "I'm going to get my boys to come back and shoot you all." So it was specified to Tony first, and then it was just to us as a group, which I think there were not 8 of us.
Yeah, there was only 6. It says in the report, me, Rayla, and 8, so it's 10. Obviously, there was just 6 of us there. We've counted it, and 4 of them were women. Like they act like we brought like a freaking gang down there. I want you to imagine now if the races were reversed here. Imagine 6, black peaceful protesters showing up to protest against racial violence, and a truck full of rednecks with Confederate flags rolls up, threatens to shoot up the peaceful black protesters, gets in their faces, assaults a woman. How would that look?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it's like, and so for all this talk about, I'm so oppressed and, police brutality, it's like, I've never seen such favoritism as what, this guy got. I mean, he should have been arrested. He wasn't.
You also got to understand Boston politics. This is one of Marty's little pet projects. And if they worked for the city of Boston, they've obviously got some political pull or clout. So the police officers don't want to get, transferred or reprimanded for doing something that's
Tito Jackson was there. Tito Jackson ran for mayor in 2017. He was a longtime city councilor. He's there endorsing this. So you're right. This is political. This organization is politically protected. And the fact that she obviously knows people in the Boston police.
Yeah, well, never mind that. What about the city worker? That her name eludes me actually when we weren't even there yet. And she came up to me and called me by my surname, knowing me because she works at 1010 Mass Ave with my ex-husband.
Oh, is that the woman that I talked to, the short hair?
Yes.
I thought you liked her.
She started at first, but then she realized it probably wasn't a good idea and then tried to make amends later on by saying, "Oh, I always give your son candy at work."
Oh, I didn't know she was starting shit with us.
Yes. So she works at 1010 Mass Ave, which is where they give all the building licenses and stuff like that.
Yeah. Wow, that's pretty wild. So I mean, my question: are you interested now that you know that Monica Crank? I mean, would you file a police report? Would you be interested in doing that?
Against this guy? If she filed against you, absolutely, because it just that's the way it's.
I would
kind of
even consider.
negating penalties. That's
I would
how it
almost
works.
consider filing against her because she called him to come down. He showed up 30 seconds after she did. He was there on her behalf. Like, we've heard her before. Like, she thinks that she said it in that rant about Rayla. She thinks that black men have an obligation to protect her, to use physical violence to protect her. Like, that's what she was talking about when she said, "Where's all the black men up?" Malcolm X would have blown somebody's head off.
Exactly, and that's exactly what happened, because he came in there like a bat out of hell. Like, as soon as she called, like, you're right, and it was like he was her brute force, her armed security, who was gonna put a stop to us protesting her.
Exactly. So, well, thank you for coming on, and we'll talk soon, and because I can't let this stand.
I can't either.
All right. Well, have a good night.
Thanks, Aidan. Have a good night.
Right.
Bye-bye.
So what we're going to do right now, guys, is I'm going to call the Boston Police B2 in Roxbury myself, and I'm going to attempt to file a police report against Monica Cannon Grant and Chris Lewis right now. We will see if they allow me to do it. If they don't allow me to do it over the phone, but they allow her to do it over the phone, that will be evidence of favoritism. Now, I don't think they're going to allow me to do it because it's really supposed to be the police in Hyde Park that are supposed to take this report, not the police in Roxbury, because it really took place nowhere near Roxbury. So I'm going to call them up. One sec. Let me make this bigger. Okay, here we go. Let's call them up. Let's see what happens. No answer. Interesting. Yeah, Hyde Park is E18. We're not calling Hyde Park. We're calling Roxbury. Because I'm not interested in Hyde Park, because Hyde Park did their job and they did not file a report when she came crying to them. I mean, just think of that. This woman literally said, "Fuck the police," and twice on Sunday. She says it all the time. She hates the police. She wants them abolished. She wants them defunded. She wants them fired. She don't wants them to be destitute. For a cop to take this woman seriously and file this bullshit report is such horseshit. So let me try.
Cisco Unity Connection Messaging System.
Yeah, that was the number. I just got a call. I'll try it again. That was the number 617-343-4270. That was the number I called. No one's answering. So I'll call maybe central headquarters in Roxbury and ask to transfer. Let me see if I can do that. What's this? The big one is right in Roxbury. It's the one right across from the Reggie Lewis Center. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Which one is that? Boston Police Headquarters. That's the one I want. Okay. Let's see what that number is. Okay. All right. So they're not answering on this phone for some reason. So let's try. Hello?
5 to discard it. 6.
Huh? Okay. I'll try that. Let me try Boston Police Headquarters real quick. 617-343-4633. Maybe B2 got defunded. I don't know.
Department.
Yeah, hi.
COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic and statewide emergency. To better serve you at this time in providing you with a police report, please email your request providing the date of incident, location of incident, and persons involved, along with a copy of your driver's license or form of identification, to michaela.brenham@pd.boston.gov. MICHAELA.GRENHAM ham@pd.boston.gov. Or you may fax your request to 617
The hell is this?
343-5106.
Come on.
To avoid duplication, please either email or fax. Your request will be processed within
Jesus,
48 hours
how long
Monday
is this
through Friday.
freaking message?
If you need to speak to a representative, please call 617.
Here, I got another number somebody just gave me. Hold on, let me call out. I got another number. Let me try this one. Let's see what this one leads us to. I couldn't believe how long that freaking message was. I mean, sometimes you just want to talk to a person. You got to sit through like an hour-long monologue about emails and coronavirus. Jesus Christ. Is anybody working in Boston Police tonight? I don't know. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I mean, what do you do if you're in trouble in Boston, right? You get defund. I mean, seriously. You call 911. What do you do if it's like you have a non-emergency and you need police? What do you do right now if no one answers the phone? It seems like the phone should probably be answered. I don't know. Nobody's fucking answering any of these numbers. This is insane. Let me try that other one again. Central. I just got to sit through this freaking voicemail again. Is this the one? No, wrong one. This is the one I want. Okay, let's try this one.
Hello, you have reached the public service unit at the Boston Police Department. Due to COVID-19 coronavirus,
I don't.
pandemic
People are saying
statewide emergency,
call an officer's number. I don't want just an officer. I want B2. I want the people who filed this police report.
location of incident, and persons involved, along with a copy of your driver's license or phone
I want to know why Monica Cannon Grant, who hates police, is getting special treatment.
MICHANELA.GRENHAM.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, we can all spell. I hate when they
Or
do
you may
this.
fax your request to 617
Fax?
343-5106. To avoid duplication, please either email or fax. Your request will be processed within 48 hours Monday through Friday. If you need to speak to a representative, please call 617-343-4322 Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. We greatly appreciate your patience as we
Actually, I just got another number for operations. I'm going to call operations. Let's see what they say. Yeah, hi. This call is being recorded. My name is Aidan Kearney. I'm from TV Daily News. I was hoping to speak with somebody in B2. Nobody's picking up over there.
You need to speak to someone in B2
Yeah.
regarding.
A police report I'd like to file.
Hold on one second, please.
Yep. I swear, if they just transfer me to this freaking number, if they transfer me to the same number that wasn't picking up before.
Area B2, this line's recorded.
Yeah, hi, this line's recorded too. My name's Aidan Kearney. I was hoping to speak with Officer Mark Coleman. Is he in?
No, there's nobody here about that name.
In B2, there's nobody. Okay. Well, I wanted to file a police report.
Sir, we have people have to come in person to file a police report.
Well, the thing about it is Monica Cannon Grant filed a police report against me on Tuesday in B2 over the phone.
All reports have to be filed in person.
All reports. So you don't take any reports over the phone. Is that correct?
No, sir, you're going to have to come in person for that.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying. I appreciate that. So there you go. Racial discrimination. The white guy can't get a freaking police report over the phone, even though I live in freaking Holden, right? Monica Cannon Grant lives around the block. Around the block. Her fat ass can mosey over there, looking like a freaking exploded can of Pillsbury dough in that shirt. Absurd, by the way. Absolutely absurd. Oi. So she gets to file police reports over the phone because she gets special privileges with the Boston Police after taking a steamy dump on them over and over and over again. This is how, I guess there's people within the police department who don't like the police department either. I can't say that surprises me, because remember the story we did in July in Springfield? A Springfield police detective was fired because she shared a picture on Instagram that said, "Shoot the fuck back" at police. So I guess there's some self-hating cops out there who just, I don't know. How can you possibly want to give preferences to this woman? I don't know. So that is that. And we have identified, by the way, the three. Let's talk about them. We talked about Chris Lewis briefly, but there's a couple others too. Let me pull up. Let's pull up another one here. Let's talk about Grandmaster DoorDash here. Where's he at? So this gentleman right here, in the video, he does this thing to us, right? We all know what that means, right? We've all seen Boys in the Hood. We know what that means. Without him saying it, staring us down. He just comes over, does that whole thing. Like, first of all, bro, we've been over this. You're too old to be the muscle. Like, what are you doing? How have you not risen in the ranks? You're still the guy who you get called. If you get called for Monica Canning grant duty, you're doing gangster life wrong. You put your time in, you put your hours in, you hustled for years, and at the end of the day, all you really are is Monica Canning Grant's coffee bitch. That's all you are. You're the guy who she calls up when, 5 people holding signs are saying eradicate racism. That's you. You're the guy. That's how little she thinks of you, because no one else will do this. Everyone else has abandoned her. Members of the black community in Boston can't stand Monica Canning Grant. They can see clearly what she is: a hustler. She is a phony. She's a poor representation of the black community. I mean, wouldn't you be embarrassed if you were black in Boston? Like, this is our face. Are you kidding me? Who appointed her in charge of anything? So there he is right there. His name is Keith Spady. As you can see, he's chained up. He's very oppressed. And he is a youth counselor. He's a youth counselor for an organization called, it's called Blackstone something. The Blackstone Community Center, which, by the way, has shut down their social media accounts because you people, you like to give bad reviews, even though I specifically ask you not to. Specifically said don't do that. You guys never listen to me. No one ever listens to me. So this gentleman, as you can see there, mentoring youth. Picture what he's saying to these kids. Like, what are you saying? Well, let's see what he's saying. There he is right there. And you look at who's on the board. It's always the same shit, isn't it? It's always the same shit. The same with like the bail fund people. It's always like 65-year-old white women from Cambridge or Hopkinton or wherever who just want to feel good about themselves. They've never lived in a diverse community their entire lives, and they feel bad about that. So they just want to, feel like they're giving back by helping black people. And it doesn't matter which black people, literally anyone will do. Anyone, as long as you take a picture with them, that's all they ultimately want. So here he is. The guy gets a job down there, makes $52,000 a year from the city of Boston, and gets paid by the taxpayers to be a youth counselor, whatever that means. And let's look at some of the things that he shares on social media. Here he is sharing a meme that says the bloodsuckers of the black community. So who are the bloodsuckers of the black community? Arabs, Asians, Indian people, more Asians, more Arab people with money, Hasidic Jews, and more Indian people. They're not white people. Or Latino. We're not the bloodsuckers. And there's beef, guys. There is beef between the Asian community and the black community often in a lot of these cities. I mean, if you've seen American History X, right? I mean, there is a lot of these convenience stores are owned by Korean people and stuff like that. There's tensions there. But he calls them the bloodsuckers of the black community. And we've done stories on that disgraced Boston firefighter, Octavius Rowe. And there is systemic racism in Boston. There's a lot of it. And a lot of it comes from Monica Canning Grant's friends. People like that guy, Octavius Rowe, who was fired after we did a blog about him and the crazy things he was saying about Jews. Like these, I don't know why they hate Jews. Like, leave the Jews alone. Can we? I mean, seriously, it's so cliche to go after Jews. I don't get it. So he also thinks that racism started because of penis size. There you go. White penis, can't ride that. Too small. We also have here another thing they say. She is making the whites in the room very uncomfortable, telling it like it is. So he enjoys that. He seems to blame. It's just everything he shares is basically like white people are evil. Like, here's a white woman doing coke with her kid. Yeah, there's another one that says the audacity of white folks to call black folks lazy when all they did was sit on their ass and watch black folks build this country for 500 years. Well, first of all, I didn't do that. I didn't watch black folks build this country. I was not alive. I was born well after the Civil Rights and Voting Rights Acts were signed. And so was Grandmaster DoorDash. He was too. Barely. But he was too. So this idea that he built this country is just not true. He was born into a country in which, black people had already fought and bled for civil rights and earned it the non-violent way. And what's this guy doing? He's whining that he's oppressed. Okay. He goes on to say, more stuff. He really doesn't like white people, but at least he doesn't hate white people as much as Indians and Asian. He really hates them. At least I was never referred to as a bloodsucker of the black community. That would be bad. He also doesn't like, let's see. Oh, he believes in like literal eugenics here. Like, this is the definition. Once you start getting into like the, this idea that like, because you are a certain skin color, you possess certain traits. Like, once you start getting into that whole shit, that's like new level racism. That's not like just yelling the N-word or calling someone a cracker or, that's word. Those are words. Those are mean words ultimately. But once you start saying things like Africans are the only pure and 100% humans, now you're into like eugenics and shit. Now you've gone. That's what racism actually is. When you say an entire race of people is better than this entire race of people because of biology. That's essentially what he's saying. And he seems to think that Bill Cosby, who raped multiple, like probably dozens of women. He's like one of the most prolific rapists in American history, and survived it for 8 decades because he's Bill Cosby. Finally gets locked up after women testify against him, like credible women, and eventually, like, this is racism, of course. Why? Because Brett Kavanaugh didn't go to jail, except Brett Kavanaugh's not a rapist. Brett Kavanaugh's never been charged, arrested, tried. No one's ever testified against him in a court of law. If Christine Blasey Ford had actually brought her weak ass bullshit into an actual courtroom, she would have been exposed for the liar that she is. Instead, she went and got her ass kissed by Kamala Harris and Sheldon Whitehouse and a bunch of assholes who just asked her, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much does Brett Kavanaugh scare you? How much of a rapist is he? Didn't ask her any questions. Republicans were too gutless to even speak to her, so they hired some prosecutor who asked a bunch of pointless questions. And you don't even get me started on that. That was 2 years ago, believe it or not. And yeah, so this is who's hired there. Fucking crazy, guys, huh? Absolutely freaking crazy. What is happening in the city of Boston? And of course, that we saw Chris. Let's talk about Chris Lewis. So Chris Lewis, as I mentioned, is Monica's cousin. And he's just mad. I thought he was young. I thought this was like a 24-year-old. That's like a grown-ass man. What is with these old dudes still trying to keep it real by like getting in Rayla Campbell's face? Like, what's wrong with you? Why are you so angry, dude? What's your problem? There he is, assaulting Peggy, who did nothing wrong. Look at this guy. Make America party again. Look at some of the things he's posting. This is what he posts about Monica. Okay. I still remember my first time. I was about 15 years old as my little cousin came up to me with so much blood coming out of his nose that it ran down into his shirt. He could barely get out of. As he said, they said, go get whoever you want. I'm 30-something years old, and the rules still apply to her and her family. It's a hands-off policy. If you touch, we spinning until we get dizzy. 100 emoji, Monica, Cannon, Grant. So what he's saying there is that when he was a kid, his cousin, Monica, got punched in the nose or something, and he took care of that shit. He handled that shit. 100 emoji. Enough said. He handled it. But now he's in his 30s, grown-ass man, and those rules still apply. These are very important rules. So he has not matured in the last 20 years. He still keeps it real, which is probably why he's never left Roxbury. So he still keeps it real, and if anybody says shit about Monica, he's going to come down and kick their ass. Obviously, Monica called him up. Obviously, she knew we were down there. She initiated this violence in Boston. She should be charged. She should also be charged with filing a false police report, and I will be pursuing this. I don't care if I have to drive to Roxbury again. I don't mind it. There's no traffic these days. No problem. And then there's this. He works there. So let me get this straight. Loyalty got me in office and a whole bunch of gifts and drop cash on me. I've been loyal my whole life, sometimes not even getting a thank you. But like I said, time to change the game. Special thanks go out to God and Monica Cannon Grant. This is exactly like Mosaic Cultural Complex again 4 or 5 years later. It's the exact same story, except it's in Boston instead of Worcester this time. Remember, we all remember the Mosaic story. Same shit. Fraudulent nonprofit run by race hustlers who called me racist baselessly. They hired family members, ratchet ass family members, and gave them jobs. And that ratchet ass family member last time was named Robert Alston, aka Bushamik, and he posted famously on Facebook and he said, yo, just act real ignorant, and then them grants be coming in and we be rolling in that shit. Like, he literally wrote that. And it led to the downfall of Mosaic Cultural Complex. They defunded them after that because they're like, oh shit, that's not good. This is a fucking confession. This is what this is. This is a confession. He's saying that because of straight loyalty to Monica, aka I'll kick anyone's ass who fucks with you. Because of this loyalty, I now have an office, cash, a bunch of gifts, and all this shit. So he's working for her. I mean, he's got a fucking job out of this. A job. And all these idiots are giving money to her. This loser who's never done shit his whole life. This is what he says to another guy who posts the shit about Rayla interrupting Joe Kennedy's speech. This is what he says about Rayla. He really hates Rayla. These people really hate this woman. Bro, I do not know you and I preach positive stuff. Do not in your life ever put anything on my fucking page unless you got something positive to say, okay? And remember, we stand with her no matter what she does or what she says. And what she said was because you put a pink penis in your fucking mouth, you stupid black stupid bitch. It doesn't give you no fucking special privileges, fucking privileges that don't make her a racist and make her a straight up G. G for gangster, by the way. G for gangster. So that's what the G stands for. So this is this is insane. This is insane that Tito Jackson, Marty Walsh, they're like letting this woman who's referred to as a straight up G by a grown ass man who still keeps it real like he was when he's 15 and fights women. And he calls Rayla Campbell a quote unquote black stupid bitch who don't got no special fucking privileges. And she puts a pink penis in her fucking mouth. You black stupid bitch. This is what he writes. He can't even put it. He must never get women. I mean, every woman he ever has sex with must get pregnant because the guy hasn't seen a period in forever. I mean, look at this shit. He can't even write a fucking sentence. Grown ass man. Getting a fucking job working for this organization that's highly renowned. You saw people there. Some people were dressed up. They wore suits. They treat this seriously. Shame on them. Shame on them. And I will not be intimidated by a police report. Anytime Monica Cannon Grant does a public event like this, I will be there. I will be there. Next time, I'll let the police know ahead of time. So there's, not so volatile a situation, but I will be there. I will express my First Amendment right to peacefully protest structural racism in the name of Black Lives Mattering. I will not apologize for that. No matter how much goons like this try to scare me and intimidate me, I won't budge. It won't happen. Okay. I won't resort to violence. Obviously, that's not my strength. One of my heroes growing up, and I've said this before, is John Lewis, R.I.P. John Lewis, because John Lewis quit college. He was going to be a preacher. He quit college to become a full-time civil rights leader because he realized the moment was too important. And he continuously put his body on the line, on the front lines during the sit-ins, during the freedom rides, during the Selma March. He was always out in front, getting his ass kicked. And he didn't care. And he kept getting arrested and he kept going to jail. And he just kept coming. And people like that inspire me. They do. So no, people ask me sometimes, like, weren't you scared? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I shouldn't be half as scared as John Lewis was to get on that bus in 1961 directly into Montgomery and Birmingham and Jackson. That's a million times more dangerous than what I just did. At least I have a cell phone to call someone. So no, I'm not going to stop. I won't stop. So let me refresh the dono button here so we don't miss anyone. If anybody donated, let's see. We got a couple here. 7 Pounder says Ernst is still a pussy. He should face down dudes. Fucking pussy. Pussy. Excellent. KB says don't stop until you destroy that racist Monica Cannon Grant. I won't, because she wants to poke the turtle now. She's pulling up Bristol Blarney. She wants to poke the turtle. So we can do that. Rich Bridges says, Turtle Lives Matter. Keep exposing the scum for what they truly are. Will do, Rich. Joanne says, 9/11, never forget. We need a trusting media outlet. You're it. Thank you. I do what I can. So once again, guys, if you'd like to donate so I can do stuff like this, keep doing stuff like this, and make a living doing it, that'd be really cool, because I love doing stuff like this. All right, so I just want to talk about one more thing, and it's kind of related to this too. I just was inspired to talk about this by watching the NFL. I don't know if you guys are watching this Texans Chiefs game. I watched it, and it's interesting because obviously Black Lives Matter shit's being shoved down our throat. We all know by now they're honoring like Jacob Blake, who's just an awful person. He finger blasted a woman, took his fingers out like against her will while she was sleeping. His baby mama finger blasted her, smelt his fingers, and said, "You've been with other men." That's also known as rape. He raped her. So he had a warrant out for his arrest. He went to go to her house uninvited, tried to take her car with her 3 kids in it, resisted arrest, assaulted cops, got tased, reached for a knife, and got shot. Boo fucking who. Now Kamala Harris is down there and Joe Biden, they're calling him a great guy. He's not a great guy. He's a piece of shit. Yeah, and he's alive. So now he has to live with the consequences of his behavior for the rest of his life in a wheelchair. So good luck with that. His raping days are over. So the fact that people like that would be honored by the NFL bothers me to no end. And I'm sure it bothers a lot of you. However, I am not a boycotter. I don't do that. I'm not boycotting the NFL. I'll boycott like baseball because it's easy to boycott baseball because baseball fucking sucks. It's boring. It's an outdated sport. I boycott baseball on my own anyway. Unless the Red Sox are in the playoffs, I'm probably not watching it. Let's be honest. NFL, no. No. NFL is America. There's nothing more American than the NFL. It is our league. We're the only country in the world that plays tackle football. Nothing is more American than that. And Sundays in the fall, in the winter, are special days. They are. We go it's the shortest season. We go 8 months without football. And then those 17 Sundays come around and everybody's got a fantasy team, FanDuel team. Even if the Patriots aren't playing, there's a reason to watch. The product is so good. It is so superior to any other sport. Nothing compares to the NFL. Nothing. It's so good. So I'm watching a game tonight, and a lot of people are saying we should boycott that. And I'm watching the game tonight, and there's probably a quarter of the stadium in Kansas City is filled, but they're still loud there, these people. And let's not forget, there is not a stadium in the NFL, 32 teams, not one stadium, including liberal cities like Foxborough, Seattle, San Francisco, New York, wherever. There is not a single stadium in the country in which the majority of fans that fill up that stadium are not Trump supporters. The majority of fans at any Patriots game, if you were to poll them, Donald Trump would win that election if the election was just fans in Gillette Stadium. Fact, not opinion. It doesn't matter how liberal the city is. It is the most conservative crowd in sports. So imagine now what Kansas City's like. Kansas City is right on the border of Kansas and Missouri, two extremely red states. I'm willing to bet Arrowhead on any given Sunday is probably like 80% Trump supporters. So what happened tonight? Well, they did the national anthem and only the Chiefs were out for it. Only one player kneeled, and I was surprised. They didn't even put the camera on them. I don't even know who it was. A lot of them stood with their arms together, whatever. It wasn't a protest. I was honestly shocked. The Chiefs, good for the Kansas City Chiefs. They did not do that. Several of them stood with their hands over their heart for the anthem. It was nice. I was actually pleasantly surprised. The Texans, Bill O'Brien's Texans, stood in the locker room like cowards because they didn't. I mean, that's the biggest pussy move is staying in the locker room. Because, like, what are you don't even have the balls to take a knee. you know what I mean? Like, you're going to go, like, you're hiding. Come on. So then they did the thing, the Black Lives Matter spiel. And they came out and they all locked arms for Breonna Taylor or whoever, And I'd like to point out, too, the three people that they're honoring here, right? George Floyd did not deserve to die. Breonna Taylor did not deserve to die. Jacob Blake, I could give a fuck less about. But the other two didn't deserve to die. However, millions of people die tragically in this country every year, and a lot of them don't get justice. And the NFL has chosen to glorify, of all the people who died unjustly in the country, the NFL has chosen to glorify a guy whose face was jam-packed with fentanyl and he overdosed on it, and a woman who laundered money for a drug dealer, her ex-boyfriend. That's the unpleasant reality. The cops weren't at the wrong house that day. They weren't. They had that address for a fucking reason because they had intel. They have literal conversations with her, Breonna Taylor, on the phone, talking to her ex-boyfriend in jail about money, drug money. Doesn't mean she should have died. It's obviously tragic when anybody dies. But there are, of all the people that the NFL could honor, you could honor kids in the cancer ward. Like, think about that's fucking tragic. Kids dying of cancer. Fucking tragic. Imagine the NFL put the effort that they're putting into this, into helping find a cure for cancer. Imagine that. We might actually have that by now. Who knows? But instead, they're all in on this, which really doesn't have a solution. Because I hate to break it to you, the cops who killed Breonna Taylor are not getting arrested. They would have been arrested by now. The district attorney can't charge them with anything. There's nothing he can do. It's an unfortunate thing. Like, the cop got shot first. I'm not saying that the guy was well within his rights to shoot. Somebody knocks on your door and tries to enter it. And if you want to have the conversation about, no knock warrants being outlawed, we can have that conversation. I mean, Rand Paul's against that. A lot of conservatives are against no knock warrants. So we can have that conversation. But this whole arrest the cops who killed Breonna Taylor, arrest them for what? Arrest them for what? Shooting back when they were fired upon? I mean, the one guy was fired because he was grossly negligent. If you want to sue him civilly, you'd probably win that lawsuit against the city of Louisville. But what can you arrest them for? You can't charge, there's nothing that they can do. So what are we doing here? How long are we going to talk about Breonna Taylor for? The cops who killed her will never get arrested. And that doesn't mean an injustice has happened. It just means that a terrible thing happened, but nothing unlawful happened, if that makes sense. So anyway, the NFL, back to the NFL. I'm watching them honor, like this is who they've chosen to honor and whatever. And what did the Kansas City fans do? They booed. They booed loudly. It was the stadium's a quarter full, and it got awkward. They showed the faces. Pat Mahomes did not look comfortable. Deshaun Watson did not look comfortable. Travis Kelce did not look comfortable tonight. They did not like getting booed. And I'll tell you one thing. I learned this from experience on Monday when I stood out there with the Turtleboy 6 and I protested systemic racism in Hyde Park. There is a huge, huge difference between expressing your distaste online and expressing your distaste in person. When they can hear you booing in person, they can't ignore that. They can block you on Twitter. They can ignore you on Twitter. And so that's why when all these people tell me, they're like, well, I'm boycotting the NFL. You know who gives a shit about that? Nobody. Nobody cares if you're boycotting the NFL. You know who's going to notice that? Nobody. It's going to make zero impact whatsoever. Because first of all, 90% of the people who say they're boycotting, they're turning their TVs on Sunday because the product is too good. They're not going to follow through. So your boycott is pointless. It's going to achieve nothing. More importantly, is the principle here that why the fuck should you give up something that you love for them? You don't have to change. They do. The NFL belongs to you. It belongs to Americans. It belongs to this country. And the fans are the ones paying the salaries of the players. And when you don't like the performance that your team puts on the field, it is your job and your duty to boo them. That's what makes that's like a New York and Boston thing, right? That's why we win a lot, because we hold our players accountable. We boo them when they fucking suck, when it's unacceptable. And when they're doing shit like that, you should not boycott them. You should boo them. That's what you should do. You should make them feel uncomfortable. I saw it in their eyes tonight. I saw Pat Mahomes' eyes. He doesn't want to get booed every week, but he will get booed every week. And if you think it's bad now, wait till you're getting booed by stadiums full of people, because eventually we're going to realize that coronavirus is a bunch of shit. And I guarantee by the Super Bowl will be sold out. There will be a Super Bowl this year, and it will be full capacity. And it will be mostly Trump supporters in the stadium. That is just a fact. So it is your job to boo these fucking people when they do this. It is not your, don't act. Why are we handing shit to liberals? Like, why are we giving our most prized possession, football on Sunday? You're just giving that to them? That's a defeatist attitude, man. That's a loser mentality. Don't just you're giving it up to them. No, it's your fucking sport, not theirs. They don't get to make the rules. You do. Boo them. Boo them. They don't like that shit. Don't talk to me about boycotts. No one gives a fuck about your boycott. You're not that important. Saying that you're boycotting the NFL is the equivalent to like an exit speech on Turtleboy or an exit speech in a Facebook group. That's it. This blog I did not like, so I'm leaving and unliking the page. Bitch, no one gives a fuck what you like. No one gives a fuck what page you're liking. Get the fuck out of here. But we all know you're not going anywhere anyway, because you like this shit too much. You just want to sound important. Okay? So that's it. That's it. No, boo, so obviously you can't boo in your own living rooms. So it's really up to the people in the stands. That's what we can do. Watch it every game and count on the fans. Because guess what? The people who are getting tickets to these games, especially with like quarter full of attendance, these are the most loyal fans. Like, these are the biggest season ticket holders. They're not going to stand for this shit. And so we should almost cheer on the fans. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like the Chiefs, right? I used to like them. Now they're the champs, so I don't like them anymore. I don't want the Chiefs to win. And by the way, I loved it. And another thing I like about the Chief fans tonight is Chris Collinsworth comes out and he's like, I thought that was really good. I thought that was really good what they did. I agree with that. Peaceful protest, good thing. Really edgy take you got there, Chris. Really edgy take. Imagine you came out and said, I'm not a fan of this. You couldn't say that. I mean, why say anything at all? You just sound like such a tool. But immediately after he makes this statement about how he's this is great, this is a wonderful thing. You know what the Chief fans start doing? Oh. A stadium full of white people doing a Native American war chant. It's beautiful. It's just like, it's a big fuck you to the NFL for political correctness. You're not going to tell Kansas City Chief fans or Florida State fans that they can't do that chant. You can take away the team name Redskins because they got pressured by FedEx. And you can take away, your local high school football team's mascot. But you're not going to stop a bunch of Chief fans from doing the Indian war chant. It's not going to work. I was inspired tonight by what I saw. God bless those Kansas City Chief fans. God bless them. They set the tone tonight for the NFL season that if players want to pull this shit, they're going to get booed. Their own team's going to get their ass fucking booed. Unacceptable. So I cheer on the fans now. That's what I'm going to, every time I watch these games, I'm going to cheer on the fans to do their fucking job and boo these fucking players. If you get tickets to a game and the players do this shit, you boo them. You boo them. You pay their fucking salary. And Bob Kraft notices that. Bob Kraft doesn't give a fuck if you write on Facebook that you're boycotting. It doesn't affect him at all. He's so rich, he doesn't care. Bob Kraft cares if his televised games have fans booing players. That is not something Bob Kraft wants. So if you show up to these games and players on the Patriots are kneeling and whining about injustice while they're cashing $1 million paychecks, you boo them. Boo them. Boo them, okay? Let them know that that's not why you're coming to the fucking game. This isn't the NBA. This isn't MLB. This sport matters, and we're not handing it over to social justice warriors, period. Just making that clear. Okay. So, any questions you guys have, fire away. If you have any questions, I'll take any questions you got. I mean, I don't know. Some people disagree with me. Turtle Riders, they disagree with me. That's fine. I just have a different mentality. To me, boycotting, that's a France move. That's a France move. It's like, I don't like Hitler, so I'm not fighting him. He can have it. He can have fucking France. I'm boycotting Hitler. I'm not boycotting Hitler. I'm fighting Hitler. I'm Winston Churchill. You're France. That's the way I see it. This is a decent rant. I'm glad you like the rant, Bob. I mean, it is important because I'm like watching it tonight and it's so good. Like Pat Mahomes threw a fucking beautiful pass. He got called back to DeMarcus Robinson. And then I see David Johnson run for a touchdown. I'm like, God, I miss this. God, this is good. God, we need this right now. I'm not fucking giving this up. Are you kidding me? No fucking way. When are you going to Boston to file? I should go soon, hopefully. I can't tomorrow. Donut Friday is back. The wife is back and working, so I got the crotch fruits in the morning. Tomorrow I have kindergarten. It's a big day tomorrow. I have kindergarten meet and greet. We have to have like designated times to meet the kindergarten teacher, and it's outside, socially distanced. You have to get an appointment with one other kid. So my kid gets to meet another kid. She's nervous about it, and we get to meet the kindergarten teacher tomorrow. So that's what I can't make it tomorrow. Did Shiva contact you about Tuesday night? No, Shiva's a little bitch. She's a little bitch. You heard him last night when people were like, let Turtle Boy on. He's like, no, we're not talking to Turtle Boy. He's a cocksucker, literally, and a baker boy. So we're not friends anymore. We're not friends because he's a little bitch. France has a record of surrendering to anyone in uniform. I know, David. Thank God for England, though. Thank God for you people. How can you call in? If you want to call in, I'll put the invite link right here. Shiva the Diva. Why, if they aren't going to school? Just because they want to meet. A lot of schools are doing this where they actually want to, just meet you. And when they do come back, and they're going back hybrid learning in November 18th. It was initially supposed to be January, but all 5 of our towns in this district are in the white. Like they're as safe as you can get. So there's literally no justification for it. So yeah, they're going back November 18th, but it's hybrid. So, but my theory about this all along, and it's just like my theory with football and all this shit, is people are just, they're not going to stand for it. Like hybrid learning is not going to work. And eventually my prediction is by January, we'll all be fully back because the election will be over. We're not putting up with this shit anymore. Why is Kate still using your name to solicit donations? Is she really? That's a great question, Bret. She's a fraudster. That's why. She's a fraudster. Because she's literally, taking donations to that lawsuit. What do I think about Bob Woodward's report? My first thought is, oh, fucking Trump. What's wrong with him? Why the fuck would you ever do an interview with Bob Woodward? You think he wants to be your friend? You think he's going to write something nice about you? No, he's there to get you. What are you doing talking? Because Trump he's a New Yorker still. He still thinks that he can like convince anybody that he's a good guy. And he's got to get that out of his head. Nothing you could say, Donald, can convince them that you're a good guy. You're a good president. They don't like you. You can't win them over. But ultimately, I just don't care. Like people all talking about like, I don't give a flying fuck about what Donald Trump said on February 7th and what he knew. That means nothing to me. Absolutely fucking nothing. Because you know why that means nothing? Because Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are meeting with the rapist and calling him a good person. That matters to me. That matters to me. And they're telling me that they're going to have nationwide mask mandates and they're shutting the country down again. That matters to me. I don't give a flying fuck about some gotcha about what Donald Trump said to Bob Woodward in February and March. I don't care. Like if Joe Biden was president, he wouldn't have done anything else differently. At least he shut down fucking air travel to China. Biden called that xenophobic. So I just don't care. Like I do not give a flying fuck about coronavirus. It's not a scam, but it is kind of like it's real. Obviously, a lot of people have died from it. But it only affects the elderly and you know why the United States continues to have deaths and nobody else does? It's what nobody wants to talk about. It's that we are a country full of fat fucks, period. We are the fattest country on earth. And we can't, instead of, doing something about it, we celebrate people like Lizzo because they're proud of the fact that they are fat pieces of shit. It's like something you're supposed to embrace now. It's a beautiful thing. Look at her. She's so fat and she's not afraid to be fat. She's proud to be fat. Oh, it's wonderful. It's good. She doesn't want to be skinny. You go, girl. You be proud of them rolls. Yeah, you go. We're cheering on morbid obesity. We're cheering on unhealthiness. And finally a disease came along that preyed on people like that. And they're dying. Healthy people are not fucking dying. So I don't really give a fuck. To me, it's like Donald Trump is not the problem, and Corona was coming either way. We die at higher rates than the rest of the world because we're the fattest country in the world, and it's not even fucking close. It was unavoidable. No matter who was the president, a lot of people were dying. Certainly Cuomo and Wolf and Baker and Murphy and Whitmer all accelerated this by putting freaking sick people in nursing homes. That didn't help. Killed thousands of people. They're the problem, not Trump. Give me a break. Either way, I just don't give a fuck. I just don't care. Nothing matters. Like none of these tricks they can pull out of their hat talking about, oh, Trump's making fun of soldiers. No, if you fell for that one, that was a good one. He's making, oh yeah, sure. Right. Come on. Yeah, David, you're fucking Boris. I mean, Boris should know better than anyone. He's shutting down your goddamn country. He got corona and nothing happened to him. He should know better than anyone. And he's a fat piece of shit too. He survived it. Boris Johnson could survive COVID. Anybody can. Christ call-in link. I've already put it. I'll put it again though. There's the call-in link if anyone wants to call in. Why do schools think that taking away children's education is acceptable? It's a great question, Courtney. Because the short answer to the fact is that your kids' teachers' hysteria, which is based on nothing, no science, no data, nothing. that comes before the well-being of your child. That's the uncomfortable answer. And I think we're going to see a mass exodus from public schooling as a result of this. That's one law. There's going to be a lot more people homeschooling than there were before. A lot more people. Because teachers have basically said, we're not essential. You don't really need us. You can survive without us. That's literally what they're saying. So why would you go back? I mean, the only reason to go back is just the social experience of being in school. I mean, I still believe in the public schools, but if they're going to start doing this shit that, the teacher in Duxbury and shit did, that's going to be a problem. Anyway, anything else? So we got Bret here. What's up, Bret?
Listen, my thing, great show, and the one.
Hey, can you turn the TV down in the back?
Oh, fuck, sorry.
Yeah, that's all good.
Because I'm still watching football, because I'm not a pussy.
Oh, good. You're with me. You're team me.
Well, yeah, because these fucking assholes don't have the power over me to take a game that I love. I've loved this game my whole life, man. And some asshole that takes a knee is supposed to rip that from me? Fuck you.
Exactly.
Fuck your mother. You don't get to do that to me. And not for nothing, but you fucking assholes have taken enough from us, man.
Yes.
You've taken enough.
Yep.
How many businesses have you killed? How many children have you hurt? How many fucking things do you want to put on us because you feel bad about some shit that didn't happen during your lifetime?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck you.
I'm with you 100%, brother.
All right, the other thing, with these fat teachers dying, and they're trying to spin it. Have you seen this?
No, I haven't.
Lizzo 2.0. Oh, look up the morbidly obese teachers that are dying. There was 2 of them, and they're both Lizzo juniors, and they're trying to spin it into a COVID thing where, listen, Wilford Brimley, you're fucking fat and you can't breathe when you sleep, and you wonder why you fucking died during a pandemic? The fuck?
Yeah, you're right.
What?
That's your days were numbered anyway. Like, let's be honest. Like,
come on, man. You fucking
died
mainline
because of
bacon greets every morning, you fat fuck.
Like,
And
you
I'm
didn't die
supposed to
because
feel
of
bad?
COVID. You died because of 20 years of physical inactivity and trans fat. That's why you died. You know,
Pizza pockets and Mountain Dew killed you, bitch. It wasn't COVID. It wasn't the boomer remover.
I know. It's so true. It's so true.
I just wanted to rant, and I'm so glad football's back. Go Raiders.
What's the score right now?
So what are your thoughts on Cam? 7-24. Kansas City is kicking the shit out of them.
Wow, just like last time. My thoughts on Cam. I have confidence in him. He's good enough. We'll see.
I hate me some Patriots. I hate these motherfuckers, but he's a decent quarterback.
Yeah, he'll make us competitive.
And with Belichick, that guy, for some fucking reason, he knows how to get the best out of these motherfuckers.
He won with
Look what he did with You remember Rodney Harrison?
Yes.
Like, he was washed up. He was done.
There's
something about Belichick that he can drag this last bit of effort out of these dudes.
Yeah. Hey, we'll see.
I fucking hate him. But I think you guys, besides, how many guys did you have fucking opt out? Like a bunch, right?
Too many, yeah. A bunch of pussies.
I think that'll fuck you more than the quarterback change.
Yeah. All right, we'll see. I'm gonna bring this chick Lynn on now.
All right, I'll talk to you later, motherfucker.
Right. What's up, Lynn?
Hey.
How you doing? What do you got?
I'm all right. I know it's not really the topic of conversation, but it's in the chat a bunch. And I have been following you for a long time, but I just kind of wanted to reach out to the other turtle riders and say that if anybody needs help, remote learning is a freaking mess. This hybrid stuff is not working, but I know there's a lot of people on here that have said stuff about homeschooling, and I've been homeschooling for 3 years. I used to be a sped teacher, and if anybody needs a hand, feel free to reach out to another turtle rider because I have a bunch of curriculum, and there's definitely great ways to go about it. I have a special needs daughter that is doing great, and she's very social. I have a 5-year-old that's in kindergarten doing remote learning, and it's horrific.
Can they reach on Facebook or?
They can reach me on Facebook with the same name.
Lynn Ann. Okay.
Or they can just message me through YouTube too, I guess.
All right, cool. All right, well, thank you for calling in. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Bye-bye. All right, guys. Let me I got to refresh the dono here because somebody put a video in the dono. I just want to announce. I'd like to thank. Let's see. We got Brittany here. Says any plans to do a follow up on the Amber Biddle $30,000 GoFundMe story? I might. I've been following that one. I joined a Discord group actually with that. That's people are obsessed with that story. So I'm going to keep an eye on that one. Also, DK says next time you're in Roxbury, Boston, please let us know the address, powers and number. Unc, absolutely. And Karen says keep up the good work. Check the mailbox. Okay, I will do. And I also want to say, so I forgot about that. There was another video that what's his name, Grandmaster DoorDash, had on his. Let me pull this up. Facebook page. I forgot to play actually. This is an actual fucking video that this guy had on his page. He shared this.
But if you kill my son, I'm gonna kill you. I'm not gonna get on TV and cry and call for Reverend Sharpton. I'm gonna quietly sit back, bury my baby, and then I'm gonna figure out how to kill you and your wife, and kill you and your children. Every black parent that ever lost a child to the bullets of the enemy in uniform who's supposed to be your protector, you should go kill those enemies. That's your duty as a human being. And if you can't protect
Oh crap. I just realized, hold on. I just realized I have the wrong audio on. Let me play it again. I got to start that over. Hold on. I hate having to switch back with mics. Okay. I'll start it over. You got to hear this. So this is a guy basically saying, this is Grandmaster DoorDash shared this on his Facebook page. It's a guy basically saying, I'm going to kill cops and their family members.
If you kill my son, I'm going to kill you. I'm not going to get on TV and cry and call for Reverend Sharpton. I'm going to quietly sit back, bury my baby, and then I'm going to figure out how to kill you and your wife, and kill you and your children. Every black parent that ever lost a child to the bullets of the enemy in uniform who's supposed to be your protector, you should go kill those enemies. That's your duty as a human being. And if you can't protect your family, you're going to bring a baby in this world, raise them up to a man, child, or a woman, and then you're going to let somebody come and shoot them down like a dog in the street, not only go into court and get off and laugh in your face, but they pay them back pay. And you're just going to get on TV and cry. No, your obligation is to go to your grave to avenge your children. That's your duty as a human being, black man.
Corrupt cop Mark Coleman of the Boston Police Department acquiesced to these people. I'm the bad guy, according to Mark Coleman, who humored them. People who are literally sharing videos about killing not only police officers, but their entire families. So he's not going to cry about it. He's not going to ask for justice for Breonna Taylor. He's just going to find the cops who killed Breonna Taylor and murdered their children. That's what a man should do. This is shared on Facebook, by the way. This is a lot on Facebook, but conservatives aren't. People like Milo is dangerous, but this is not. This is good. Interesting. Okay. All right. Any more questions, guys, or comments before we call it an evening? Thank you very much for the donos. I really appreciate that, guys. I agree, Blinded. That is infuriating, the double standard. Absolutely. Like you said, 7-pounder. They're saying the silent parts out loud, aren't they? When they say stuff like that. And they do it because they can. No consequences for that. Once again, if everyone, somebody said they wanted the call link. There we go. I could take one or two more calls real quick before we call it a night. Yeah, your Christmas tree. Remember that? My goddamn Thanksgiving thing wasn't like I wrote peace, love, and happiness to all on Christmas fucking day. And it was taken down for promoting sexual violence. But that's what you just heard there. That's on Facebook. That's on Facebook. Okay, Ozzy, real quick. What do you got, Ozzy? What's up?
Yes. So on Memorial Day, while you guys were doing the protesting, against Monica Cannon.
Yeah, Labor Day. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was Trump supporters versus Black Lives Matter in South Hadley. The majority
Ooh.
of the Black Lives Matter supporters were all white.
Well, that's kind of a theme. It's South Hadley. I don't think there's going to be a lot of black people in South Hadley showing up.
So there's quite a few, but it was just funny. And one of my friends who happens to be black, she says a lot of them in South Hadley, they're not even supporting Black Lives Matter. They think it's a whole joke.
Well,
And
it
really
is.
is.
And
And
a
it was
lot of
just funny. You watch some of them, and they're all standing there, with their legs spread and the whole symbol they do. It was just like, really, some of them were the teachers and pediatricians that were in our community.
Yeah.
That was pretty pathetic.
I agree completely. Well, thank you for calling in. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
And she makes a good point. That's like, ultimately they're losing a lot of support even in the black community. Like, because you see these protests, almost everyone's white. This is all just an exercise. And look at me. I'm one of the good ones from a bunch of narcissistic white people. That's what Black Lives Matter has morphed into. It's garbage. And they think that like the people that they're promoting are people like Monica Cannon Grant and a lot of people, black people who are actually well-intentioned and want, like have actual things in mind that they would like to see changed, laws passed, stuff like that. They're not being elevated. They're being ignored because they don't yell racism like Monica Cannon Grant does. That's the kind of people these white mobs are enabling. Monica Cannon Grant. All right. Yeah, like I said, Dave, like large swaths of the black community like the police and their protection. I mean, nobody wants the police defunded less than black people in urban areas with high crime rates because they're not stupid. They know what happens next. I mean, just think about that. Monica Cannon Grant misfucked the police. Who did she go to? As soon as that was over? The police. She ran right to the police. She struck out with the Hyde Park police, but her corrupt friend, Ron Coleman, he, whatever, he'll answer the phone. Look at Messenger. Okay. Oh, so shout out to GI Turtles, deceased soldier friend Sergeant Martinez, who was a firefighter who died in an off-duty accident. R.I.P., brother. R.I.P. So, all right. Any other questions or comments, guys, before we call it an evening here? Was that the message I was supposed to read? Not sure if that was the right message to read. Because I got a bunch of messages here. So anyway, we just got to call it a night. That's why if it's a whole thing, I have to read. I don't have time for it, but I'll read it down after that. So anyway, I guess we're calling it a night, guys. Thank you guys for coming on. I have not heard from Metro. I don't expect to. I think we've seen the last of Metro, hopefully. So, all right, guys, love you all, and we will see you all for real this time on Saturday night for the live show at 9 p.m. Peace, Turtle Riders.